I'm down here kind of low because I'm going to do something a little different today. The only time you're going to see me is right now, here at the beginning of the video, and then at the end. I'm going to turn it around because we're going to switch. This is day 4, the episode 4 for the How to Draw series. And we're turning around to our warrior that we started the other day. And we'll go ahead and focus on him because that's where most of the work is going to take place. So I'll just point you guys that way and you can still hear me and see what I'm doing. But I'm not going to focus on me. I want you to see basically what we're doing with the drawing. And as I talked about the other day, we've already started. As you see, we build up from the circles, the head, the cylinders for the neck and the leg and the joints or your arms, your appendages. Circles are used basically hands, elbows, shoulders, and so on. You could also see how there's circle use here in the chest area. And then there's also actually a big kind of oblong circle right there for the middle. But you can see kind of how that goes down. So now that we've got our drawing, we've taken it from the skeleton to the circles and the cylinders. We left the circles and cylinders, and then we went to filling it in with more pencil, kind of more detail than I usually do. Usually I go kind of very light and then go right into getting the color down because we know we're going to color it. But right now what we're going to do is, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to erase. And then this erasing is basically to get the get all the unwanted lines. We're going to get rid of all the lines basically, and basically take it down to its rawest form, where all you have is basically just the ink lines. Now, once we get it down to where all the ink lines are all that's showing, trying not to make too much sound here with my eraser, but once we just get down to the ink, you can see how it kind of draws you away, and you can see kind of more clearly what the drawing itself looks like. And I'm going to be working from this angle, so you have to excuse me. It's not a normal angle for me to work at, because usually I just kind of pull out my clipboard and do it. And I know you guys are like, oh, why is he still using clipboard? I know this is very old school artwork. Everybody nowadays does a lot of computer work and stuff like that, which is fine if that's what they like to do. I have done some computer work. Most of my computer work, though, I've edited some drawings. Once I've got them finished, I basically went back and edited them with the computer. Either if I wanted like a very dark background, and I really didn't get it. I wanted a kind of a solid background with, like, say for instance, like a dark color. And sometimes you don't get that when you're using pencil and pen, and we're going to be using colored pencil today. So what I'm going to do now that we've kind of cleaned up the artwork, and it's not super clean because I think sometimes having a little bit of pencil still left over actually helps. And the very first thing we're going to do, though, because we're using colored pencils, we're going to do what I call, there's 3 coats that basically you go with the colored pencil. And the very first coat, we're going to start with a brown. Okay, and this brown is kind of like a coffee colored brown. But what we're going to do, and you'll see here, is that basically we're going to start filling in shadows, shadows with the drawing itself. And it's not a really dark brown, but it lets us kind of go in and put shadows where we think they're going to exist or where we want them to exist. And since he's wearing a helmet, it's going to be very dark up around there. So you're going to find that you see some of the shadowed areas are already kind of in the drawing. So that way when you go to start adding colors, you know, those areas are going to come out. If you do a lighter color, you're going to see that where it'll get, you'll see those shadows kind of come out with that. And you can start anywhere. I usually start right around the face, I guess. I don't think that's a standard, just what I do. But like I said, a lot of people use computers nowadays. So I think in some ways I've even had some people make complaints. Why are you still, using markers? Why are you still using Rose Art colored pencils or something? Which is kind of funny to me. I don't mind it. I like to see older artwork. I mean, I think there's a lot of talent in people that do it on computers, but I think there's also something to be said for freehanding your artwork, because you don't see that. I mean, you really can't freehand. And I've seen guys that they'll do the computer and they'll actually do a drawing and then go back and edit all the colors and change all the colors around. Which is fine if you want to do that. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I probably will at some point start going into more computer work, because I've done pretty much every type of artwork there is at some point. And I've even done some stuff that I don't think a lot of people have been exposed to. But basically, we're just filling out our warrior and giving him some background. Now, with the browns can go anywhere too, because even though this is not going to be a brown kind of head right here, you could still put it on there. The only place you don't put it is something that's going to be darker than that. I already know that I have an idea in my mind what colors I'm going to use. One thing about doing these older kind of drawings, especially when you're looking at tri-scenario, what I've done is a lot of the bone work, like this is going to be a bone helmet, so there can be kind of a brown, kind of rustic, probably put a crack in the skull at some point. It gives them an idea of being worn and used. But you can get kind of the idea that we're just filling in these darkened areas. It's going to be a little darker than the others. As you can see, I'm putting a little bit more darker over here because I expect there's more shadow, especially behind the helmet. So even though it's a shoulder pad, depends on what angle that shoulder. Our suns are coming from all directions, but we still want to kind of keep the the shadows kind of here focused into the center of the character himself. So we're coming around here. And you can see I'm not being really like super gentle with this. This is going to, because what I'm going to do after this, I'm going to put what I call a base coat. The base coat in your, especially when you're doing color. And we won't get this all colored in just this session. I'm going to do a little bit and then come back and then do some more. But I'm going to try and get at least this done. The next video probably will go more into the base coat. But this section right here, we're just going to do the shadowing the character in advance. So we're getting him ready basically to receive color. But you can soften it out, and there's a couple of things that actually do kind of, and browns can be used. It doesn't have to be a, person of color character to use the browns. You can use the browns on anything. I mean, you got in tri-scenario especially, because they've actually got more of an orange skin tone. There are various races on the world itself, but they've got more of an orangish skin tone. So you got some people are darker. It started like a long time ago. People in the more snowed areas. I know you're thinking 3 suns, how's there any snow? Yes, there is still 2 polar caps on the world. Kind of like the more cooler areas, but this guy we get. But they've got basically the people there. You've got some that, if they're from the very middle, like around the equator, they're a lot more darker skinned. And then if in fact in this age it was what's called the hot basin. Hot basin is not what they called it. It's land of the Azaris was mostly what they call it. Azaris are kind of like snake creatures, but they've got kind of a wide maw. I've drawn them a few times and put them on different pictures. So it's like a huge snake. Some of them can be anywhere from 50 feet long. So they're really big creatures that prey on people. And but we're even going to use some of this brown right here. But the Azaris, like in the hot basin or the hot lands, that's where you would see them mostly. And they've got kind of like a regular, like a snake head, but they've got the kind of wide jaw, kind of like a predator lower piece on both sides. We're going to have a piece of these pieces I'm doing today. We're starting with the male figure. Once we finish the male figure, we're going to actually do another drawing, and it's going to be the female figure. And then we actually will do some of the creatures, because they both got different characteristics. When you draw a man, you've got different characteristics than you have when you draw a female. So you have to kind of look at that. And as an artist, I mean, quite honestly, you have to, just like if you go, when I went to college, we had the nude models came in and you had to draw the nude model. Nowadays, you don't have to look for a new model. All you have to do is go on the internet, Facebook or something. Somebody's out there, posing or whatever, so it doesn't take that much to actually get. And I mean, not for just being lewd, but I mean, you can look at human forms and human shapes by looking at some of the features and characters that people put out there online. So there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with the human body. And if you're going to be an artist, I mean, you've got to understand how to draw, the different aspects of, males and females. And then you also have to understand how to draw pots, pans, dishes. You really have to start thinking around how you're going to kind of conquer everything when you draw. How you're going to draw this. And one of the reasons to practice different types of things to draw is because the more you practice like different things, and I know you're probably thinking when I go to high school, when I was in high school, they always gave us these weekly drawings we'd had to do. And some of them didn't make any sense to me, but now they do. It makes sense to me now because I've realized that as an artist, you've got to be able to kind of conquer those things and get a comfort zone with drawing different things. Because if you get stuck, and you can, I mean, some people get in their comfort zone, they just stay right there. But if you really want to excel as an artist, you've got to kind of grab different things that you're not comfortable with and try those as well. So or that's probably going to be black. Probably going to make black hair on his head or on his helmet. I know you're thinking that this is going pretty quick at this, but that's how I kind of work at these. I've done some where I've taken, 2-3 weeks to do one drawing, but lately, and as I get older, maybe because I'm old and I'm running out of time, I go a lot faster. And, some people can fight for perfection, or I don't want to put my work out there because it's not perfect yet, and I don't want people to see it until it's perfect. You can wait for perfection, or you can get work done. Because honestly, I think, there's no problem in trying to be perfect, but if you're seeking just to have a perfect product every time, you're probably not doing it for purpose. I mean, that's a personal satisfaction, but I mean, your chances of becoming or making a perfect drawing are very limited. I mean, you can do it, you can take your time, and everything can be just perfect, and that still is not going to guarantee that you're going to be famous. In fact, somebody pointed out one time that some of the characters I was doing, they said, oh, the proportions are off. But if you go back to some of the masters, especially like if if you go back to Boris and you go and look at Frank Frazetta and the drawings they did, not all their drawings were actually proportionate. You know, some, I think Frazetta was probably more famous for that than anything. Boris, he was pretty spot on, but he did a lot of his off of photographs. So he would take a photograph of somebody and then he would actually sit them in the pose that he was going to do them and do that. And then that's the one difference with the work I do, is that I don't photograph anything. Everything's kind of pretty much out of my brain. You know, I get an idea of what I want something to look like, and that's where it goes from. And there you have it for this session. I basically colored in all the shadowing that I'm going to do with this character. And then basically what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and do the base coat. But as far as for this drawing, or this session right here, because I think I'm at I don't want to make these too long. Yeah, I'm at 16 minutes. So I don't want to make these too long. But I did want to kind of step in and give you guys a chance to see kind of what I'm doing and what I'm working at, and give you kind of a chance to see the process too. If you're working at something along, by all means keep up. If you need coloring pencils, and I know I'm working on colored pencils, don't go out and buy anything super expensive. Go buy some Crayolas if you need colored pencils and you don't have them. They run about $5 a box. So, you know, I like the Crayola 36. The reason I like that is because I like the color spectrum that's in those. So you have to look at what kind of colors you're going to get, what colors you're looking to use. I've got one that's kind of wild. I've got another concept I'm working on. I haven't got to kind of publishing it out there for everybody. It's really got a lot of different colors in it, and there's a purpose for that. But everything should be purposeful. Like I said before, you know, when you look and see advertisements and things like that, somebody had to sit back and think about it. Sometimes there was a whole psychological work group sitting there trying to figure out what colors they're going to put in. And what I do is basically I just kind of go with my gut, what I think, what I like, and what I think I feel will be a good color for the shot. And there you have it. That's episode 4. This kind of gives you an idea of what we do as far as, or what I do or go through as far as putting a drawing together. And so I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget, if you do kind of like what I'm doing, just like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, and that way you'll be able to see what's coming up next and the things I have planned for the future. Okay? Good talking to everybody. Post in comments if you got questions, and I'll answer as soon as possible. Have a good day.